Where have you been? Where have you bloody been? Hello, how is everyone doing? It has been such a long time. Well, it's been, I think, 4 weeks since I put my last video up on my channel. And that is because I had a little internal chat with myself and was like, Julia, you need to finish this thesis. You need to get this first draft done. And until you get those results chapter drafts done, you can't make another YouTube. Which to me was like, because I love making YouTubes, I love making videos, but making videos does take a lot of my creative brain power. And I was like, I feel a bit like I'm self-sabotaging myself with both areas of my life in terms of the thesis and making content, because I was really trying to split my creative brain power. And I was like, if I just pool it all into the thesis, then I can more quickly finish that work and come back to YouTube and making content. And I've got loads of really, really amazing ideas for this channel, and I'm really excited. By the time this is posted, which should be in 2 days' time, I will have finished my first drafts. Oh, that's such a nice feeling. And I am not going to lie to anyone, it has not been easy. And really what I wanted my first video back on my channel to be about was how I have managed to work when I really haven't wanted to. I was having like a great session about 3 or 4 weeks ago, and just in the middle of it, I was like, I need to write down now what is making this work session feel so nice and making me so productive compared to when I feel quite resistant to my work. So I came up with a little list, and I thought I'd share them as my very first video back to my YouTube after pretty much completing the first drafts of my thesis. So the first thing, and I am such an advocate for this, you all probably know if you watched any of my other videos, the first thing that has made my writing sessions much, much nicer is to plan in advance exactly what you're going to do. I made my last video on my channel was actually my scheduling system and how I schedule my work. I have been really, really rigid with my time blocking. And I say rigid in the sense of like, I block out what I'm doing each day, but I haven't been over planning. So I haven't been saying, okay, today you need to write 6,000 words. I've been rigid with it, but just a few tasks each day. And yeah, I would get super specific with this planning. So I would know when I woke up in the morning exactly what time I was going to be doing my writing and exactly what I had to do. And what I found was that even if I finished earlier than the allotted time, I would stop there. I wouldn't bring things forward from the next day. I would say, that's all I had scheduled for today. You now can just relax and do what you want to do. So really, really planning in advance what you're going to do each day has been an absolute must for me in getting those really productive work sessions in. The second thing that has enabled me to, be more productive and feel better when I'm doing my PhD writing has been to start before I have a chance to think about it. My best hours to work are in the morning. I am definitely more alert in the morning. I sometimes have a tendency to build up a bit of mental drama about my work before I go and sit at my desk. And what this does is it's creating a resistance to doing my work before I've even done it. So because my best working hours are the morning, I have been getting up and doing a little bit of things for myself, like journaling and meditation in the morning, which I'll get to in another video about my new morning routine. But I will pretty much get to work straight away, like within the first half an hour or so of waking up. And this to me, because I'm not really alert enough to start like being really critical of myself, I just get to my desk, open my laptop and go. Like, that is how I've been working. Open laptop and go. And for me, one of the hardest things to do when I'm doing this type of work is to just get started. So having little resistance to starting the work has been really useful for me to be productive, because once I start, it's normally not too bad, but sometimes getting to the point where you want to start can be quite difficult. If though I have to work in the afternoon when my brain is a lot more critical and analytical, I've been actively saying to myself, no drama. Let's do this work with absolutely no drama. And it does quieten those thoughts a little bit. It stops me reacting to those thoughts and feeling that I don't want to work. If you feel like you have these similar thoughts to what I have, just say, no drama. I'm not having any drama with this work today. I'm just gonna start it and do what I have set out to do. It sounds really simple, but it has helped me a lot. Third thing, could not work without this Pomodoro timer. I am such an advocate for working with a timer. Now, what a Pomodoro timer is you work for a set period of time and then take a set break. And in the period of time when you're working, you do not let yourself get distracted. And I know that sounds like a hard thing to do, but bear with, because Pomodoro timers typically are like 25 minutes work with a 5-minute break. And the first few times I did these, I found it very hard in that 25 minutes to not want to be distracted. But the art of this timer system is that the more you do these 25 minutes distraction-free work periods, the more you're training your brain to work for 25 minutes without a distraction. That is actually what these timers do over time. It's training your brain to really, really focus. In the 5-minute break, I found it's been really helpful for me to not look at my phone, to not go on social media, to not even check my emails, because in that 5 minutes, what you want to do is sort of take a bit of a mental break from your work, but not distract your brain completely by investing your energy into something else. So I normally just get up, make a cup of tea. If my sister's around, who I live with, I'll have a quick chat with her, then come back up and start again. So I would say if you are struggling to really get into work, try using these timers and bear with them. Give it a good few weeks, because you will be training your brain over time to focus without distraction. The fourth thing I would say, and I've written this down here because this was at a point in my writing schedule where I wasn't in the lab, I was still just writing from home, and that is to allow yourself to build momentum. And this is what I was speaking about at the beginning, about me trying to split my time between creating content and writing the PhD. And once I made the decision of, Julia, you need to just pull your energy into one of these things for now, you can come back to the other one later, what I found was I really was able to build up momentum with my PhD work when it was my sole focus, because I was doing some work on it in the morning and in the afternoon, and then the next time when I come to it, I knew exactly where I was up to, and what I had to write about next. Whereas before with my schedule, I was doing like PhD work in the morning and then content creation and science things in the afternoon. But then when I come to my work the next day, I'd be a bit like out of it. So allowing myself to build momentum by solely focusing on the PhD work just for this short period of time. I'm not saying you should do this for the whole of the writing process of any project you're working on, but just giving myself those few weeks of this is my main focus really allowed me to build momentum. And it meant that each day that passed, I was getting more and more work done. It was like a cumulative effect. So maybe just try and focus on the one thing that you really need to get finished, and then put all your other projects on the shelf for now, and just think how much of an amazing feeling it will be when this work is finished and you can take those things off and really nurture them as well. The next thing, and this is something that I mentioned before, is to not go over the hours that you've set for yourself in your schedule in advance. So I sort of briefly mentioned that I said I would just stop whenever my tasks were finished for the day, irrespective of if I had another hour scheduled to do my PhD thesis. I didn't bring work forward. And this is because I think a lot of us feel like we have to work all hours of the day to be seen as hard working. And what this ends up doing is really just burning yourself out. So if you're being sensible with your schedule and setting tasks in advance for certain days, I just really don't see the need to think, oh, I finished an hour early, so as my reward, I'm going to bring tasks forward from the next day. Like, no, treat yourself, have a reward, have a break, read a book, go for a run, do whatever you want to do that makes you feel uplifted. That has been, for me, something that has been a non-negotiable. I always will work just in the hours that I've set for myself, unless I have a lot of momentum on the work that I'm doing that day and I haven't quite finished it and I just think this is going to take me another half an hour. But I would say just don't work all hours of the day because you feel like you should be, to be deemed as productive or to be deemed as being worthy of the project you're working on. Another thing that I noted that made me feel better when I was working is setting a really nice atmosphere to work in. working. Now I would say that this is an extra, if you will. It's not like if you have a nice setup to work in that you're going to be productive, because I think there's a lot more mindset work that needs to be done. You can look at my video on how to stop procrastinating for this. I think that work is much more important for, you know, having a good work session. But I found for me that if I set up my desk and my room so it was nice and tidy, so that I knew where everything was, so that I had a bottle of water at all times. I've drank so much more water over the past few weeks. I've made that like a real effort to drink more water, and it's made me feel much more productive. And I would light my candles and start to work. I play music that doesn't have lyrics, so I'll play like either a chilled jazz playlist or a lo-fi beats playlist, and just set the tone for the work session. And then every time that I go to do work, I will replicate that atmosphere. So it's sort of training my brain to associate the candles are lit, the music's on, we've got the water, we've got the tea, we've got the laptop. This is now time to focus. So find a nice atmosphere that works for you with your work and try and mimic that every time that you need to focus. I think we're on the 7th thing now. The 7th, oh my God, I can't even count. The 7th thing is that with the work that I really didn't want to do, because there is always little niggly things in a big project that I'm like, I just put them off. I would do these really amazing things called PhD power hours, or you could just call it power hours if you're not writing a PhD. And this would be in the evening, I'd say around 5 o'clock-ish. I would say, okay, this hour is the time where I'm getting that niggly bit of work done. In that hour, I would normally sit in the kitchen actually, where like my sister is and things like that, so it's a bit more of a vibrant atmosphere. I would take my headphones, pick the best music that I could think of at the time, the music that I was like, I just want to dance, I just want to sing, that type of music, put it on full blast, open my laptop, get to the point in the thesis where I was up to, and just go. And I would sing along with the music as I was doing it, and it almost like made me forget how much I was resisting doing this little niggly bit of work. So I think like if you want to incorporate these power hours into your day for those bits of work that you really don't want to do, I found it so good, because you're just dancing. I was sort of dancing in my seat, like dancing, singing along to the tunes, but getting through that really horrible bit of work that I didn't want to do. And within the hour, the work's done. Like I was like, oh, it's done, and it didn't feel that bad, because I've sort of tricked my brain into thinking like I'm at the club or at a party having a dance, but I've actually just done that really horrible bit of work that for me seemed like a huge deal, but after I'd done them, I was like, why was I bothered about that at all? And the final thing which has been so key for me to be able to work when I feel like I really didn't want to work, is to rest without guilt. I do not work past 6 o'clock on any weeknight on science communication work, on my PhD. I don't work. And on the weekends as well, I always try and take one day where I don't work at all. And I think when we get to this crunch time with a project, we feel like I should be working every hour of the day, but it's just not sustainable. So taking at least one day off a week for yourself to rest, and rest without guilt. Don't be thinking, in this time I should be working, I'm wasting time. If you don't give your brain that rest, you're not getting the refresh, and what you'll end up doing is you're in the same state of mind every time you approach that piece of work, and you'll never see the improvements that you need to make if you're constantly in the frame of mind you were in when you were last writing that piece of work. That was a little bit rambly, but I think you just really need like a refresh, because at the end of the day, the work you do, no matter how good it is not a reflection of your worth. It's not. It's a piece of work. It's not you. It's a piece of work that you've done. It's not you. And I think if you're completely absorbed in the work and doing it, you know, all hours that we're given, it gets a bit tangled up with your ability and your worth. So really rest without guilt. That is a key to having those lovely, productive work sessions, because you can come to it nice and fresh and non-judgmental and non-critical. So yeah, that's all I wanted to say today really, is just a few of the things that have helped me to have really lovely work sessions when before I was like, is that even possible to have a nice work session? So I will be back with more videos all about how to use your brain to achieve your goals, how to plan, organize, be productive. They'll all be here on my channel, so subscribe if you want more of that. And if you have any questions for me, you can catch me over on social media. I will see you in the next one. Bye! And I've missed yous.